From the News Channel 8 studios, this is Washington Business Tonight with Rebecca Cooper.
Good evening and welcome to Washington Business Tonight for April 22nd, 2009. I'm Rebecca Cooper. Happy Earth Day. The art of successful contract negotiations can either make or break your business and your position in the business world. So it caught our attention when we met Chris Voss, founder of the Black Swan Group, which specializes in negotiating mergers, acquisitions, and those all-important contracts. What makes Black Swan stand out in a city full of M&A and contracts experts? Well, it's fairly unusual in the business world when you learned your skills not only at Harvard, but also serving as the FBI's lead international kidnapping negotiator. Now, Voss uses those skills to teach business leaders how to bargain in even the most difficult situations and to get your most dangerous and untrustworthy adversaries to keep their word. Chris, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Rebecca. Thank you.
So because you have this unique background that you can bring to the business world, what is it that you think are the most important things when you're starting these contract negotiations? Do you start with your price point, or do you start with something bigger than that?
Well, you sort of start with what whoever you're negotiating with wants to talk about. And you have to establish a relationship, because no matter how tough they are, the real adversary is really always the situation. So no matter how difficult or how dangerous they are, you still have to develop a working relationship, because even if you get an agreement, the other side has to perform.
Now, a lot of the largest and even small companies will bring some boilerplate contracts, ones that they routinely use. How important is it to try and add or subtract from the standard contract?
Well, if you think about what the purpose of the boilerplate was, you can usually, if it's an unacceptable boilerplate, you can still try to achieve the same goal, but maybe take a different route. And that's why developing a good relationship with the other side helps, because you might need to get them to change their boilerplate, but you still need to protect them at the same time.
So if someone is seeming completely adamant on an issue and you think that you're only losing ground by continuing to negotiate it, what are some of the things you can look for in terms of telling whether it's time to quit while you're ahead or whether you still have room to maneuver?
Well, you can maneuver, or you can try to dig with them a little bit more to find out how they're trying to protect themselves. If they're very adamant about something, they're simply trying to protect themselves. And there may be another answer to that. If you've developed a good enough working relationship with them, then you can get to that answer.
That's a good way of putting it. And you talk about how some of your the people on the other side of the table can be good guys, and some of them can be pretty difficult to negotiate with. What are some of the most difficult personality types when you're at the contract table?
Well, the ones that think that their way has got to work, and they know no other way around it, which means they're actually afraid to try something else.
So do you try and place your way as their idea? Do you use that old trick, or how do you get them to come around to see it your way? A
lot of times it's asking them enough good open-ended questions, and open-ended questions are really the great secret to power negotiations.
And what are some of the ways that you see the most correlations between being an FBI negotiator in a hostage situation and working on contracts? I'm sure there's many.
Well, the biggest thing is knowing when a yes is not a yes. And a lot of people love the sound of yes so much that as soon as they hear something that sounds like yes, then they try to move as quickly past it as they can, because they think they have a solid yes. And knowing when yes is really a maybe is a huge issue.
Chris Voss, a fascinating insight. We thank you for coming in tonight. And we'll be right back after the break.